notification that the stream is start, that's all. So it was a little cut off. Here you are. Alright, so welcome. This is Nuke Marine presenting Let's Learn Japanese, course series for the self-study of Japanese from basics and beginnings up to intermittent, hopefully advanced. As usual, it's a Let's Read Japanese, so up above is going to be playing the audio of what I'll be reading. Off the side is the text of what I'll be reading. And as I read along to the audio, if I see a word I don't know, pause it, look up what the word means. Carry on like that. Alright, in this case I'm using anime. You can do this with dramas, you can do this with audiobooks, do it with news clips. It's wide open options. Whether or not it's effective, personally don't care. It's fun and it's got me reading more. I've read more by doing this than if I was just trying to read regularly. So for me it works. For some people they use visual novels. Other people maybe they just need to read regular books. It just depends. I guess that's all that really matters is, hey, go with what works. And if for you the only reading you can do is like subtitles on an anime show, then okay, then that's the only reading you'll do. You know, what I'm personally doing here, it's kind of a hassle, kind of an annoying setup. What's great is now there are, you know, you've got something like Learn Languages with Netflix, and that's a really good setup where you can just do read like I'm doing because they have the subtitle lines off to the side, so you can do it like that and read along as you're watching, so you don't have there's no interference or anything. Have a little issue because of the Yomi-chan's not working too well with Chrome compared to how it works with Firefox, but you know, eventually they'll get that app to work with Firefox, and then hopefully that'll solve those issues. Because I do like looking up words with Yomi-chan. It's just a little bit better than the dictionary, whatever dictionary they happen to use for the vanilla dictionary they use for Learn Japanese with Netflix, or I'm sorry, Learn Languages with Netflix. But it's still a really good application, so I can I would recommend it. Saves you all the setup I got to do for this. They take care of it all. As long as it's a Netflix show and it comes with subtitles, you're set. Similarly with when they do Learn Languages with YouTube, if there's subtitles for it, you're set. Now it's probably better. A lot of YouTube subtitles are automatically generated, and so there's going to be a lot of errors, especially when it comes to Japanese. There is still some with English, but I kind of noticed. I get the feeling it's not as bad. So there's probably some reasonings for that. Yeah, it's just give it a shot, like I said, and just get your reading in there. I just recommend reading to audio because if you don't, there's going to be a lot of words and phrases you're never going to normally hear. It's going to all be written in the text. But the vocabulary, so I did say words, so I mean the phrases or how things are said. But the vocabulary, maybe it's going to be a word that you see often on the written page, but at the time it comes for you to say it, you're probably going to mispronounce it because you never heard it spoken. You've only seen it in text form. And you know what it means in text form. You understand it in context. It's just that because you've never heard it and you're going to speak it wrong. I think I've some cases of that in English, like if you see like etc. All right. In English, in fact, you probably have to be told that means etc. You know, because it's never really written out as etc. It's etc. You just need to know it's etc. Kind of like with the and mark, which you may or may not know, it's called the ampersand. You know, as an example, you just always see it, although it's it is pronounced and. So I don't know how people pronounce it in their head when they're reading it. So it's just a really good habit, and it's kind of cool because you'll see it with some things like you know, atto, and so you know the at mark, but they call it atto. You know, hence it's just a canonization of the word at. So you do get to hear that, and I think it's also really good for the loan words because of how hiragana and especially katakana. I'm sorry, loan words. So katakana, the stress is going to be a little different. So if you're just looking at the katakana, you're gonna pronounce it wrong. I just got that feeling. As opposed to you need to hear it and then practice with how it's actually spoken. All right, what is wrong with the? Am I missing something? Let's see. Let me try something real quick. Okay, I see what's happening. There we go. Okay, with that said, let's get started. I'm gonna start as usual with the news and go from there. And for those of you wondering, yes, I've been off for the week. I've been lazy. I've been lazy for a long time. Just was super lazy this week. Let's see, is that everything? Okay. Let's do a refresh. Okay, so that's 52 seconds. Let's look at it. Okay. Okay. 深夜の快速者。不正解決の通り。Alright, let's see what we got.
大きなエンジン
Alright, so okay. 小林市のドライブコースでエンジンなどを不正に快速 restored vehicle と取り締まるが So was pulled off 取り締まる Oh, cracked 取り締まるが行われました Okay, let's go
大きなエンジン音の車。警察官らが車体を調べ、適切な整備を命じました。神戸市中央区と北区とを結ぶ再び山ドライブウェイは、
再び山ドライブウェイ
夜間の暴走や騒音が問題となり、
暴走、okay、夜間の暴走や騒音
午後11時から午前5時までタクシーを除く普通乗用車の通行が禁止されています。しかし、エンジンなどを不正に改造した車を使った危険な走行が繰り返されていて、兵庫県警などは定期的に取り締まりを行っています。
車の
So 兵庫県警交通交通審査課 So I guess traffic investigations 交通審査課 No 捜査課 OK 捜査課交通捜査課
不正街道道路を占拠してドリフトやってますんで
道路 Yeah, it's gotta be 道路天候選挙
他の人を巻き込みますからねそういうところがやっぱし違反重要なところじゃないかと思います。
警察は撲滅に向けて粘り強く取り締まりを行いたいとしています。
撲滅Slap and Okay. Oh, slap destruction. 撲滅に向けて割り強く。粘り。あ、粘り強く。粘り強く。Okay. Okay, 48. All right, let's go with it. I wish they would stop the autoplay. Alrighty. 速上。速道。工場開催。消防隊員。消防。説官の一人が行方不明。Oh. Okay. So what we got here.
消防が懸命の消火活動を行っていますが、なかなか煙は収まりません。
Is there no report? Okay, 5日未明。静岡県吉田町の工場で火事がありました。建物のうちに入った消防隊員と警察官合わせて4人と連絡が取れておらず、警察や消防が捜索しています。午前1時35分ごろ、吉田町川尻のレック maybe record 静岡第2工場の煙探知機 okay. 煙探知機が作動し知らせを受けた準備会社から消防通報がありました。通報がありました。この火事で建物のうちの入った消防隊員3人、警察官1人と現在連絡が取れていません。また消火活動をしていた別の隊員の男女3人もやけどや煙を吸った病院に搬送されています。建物のうちは現在も煙が充満していた鎮火expressing fire. Okay, what is that right there? Metallic truth. Tranquilize the fire. Okay, makes sense. 鎮火には至っておらず、警察や消防や消火活動 let's see if that's a phrase. Firefighting, okay. 消火活動を続けるとともに行方不明 OK 行方がわからない4人の捜索を見ています。静岡市消防局によりますと、行方不明になっているのは以下の4人で、Okay, there's the names. Shiki is the leader, right? Shiki 隊員、救助隊員、地域課、Regional Director 男性。Okay. 警察によりますと、当時工場は稼働しておらず無人だということです。吉田工場は清掃用品などの製造をしていました。工場内には清掃用のクエン酸citric acid. Okay. 上層クエン酸や上層 then this is carbon dioxide, natrium, sodium, 炭酸なんていうのかさ、それにスポンジがあったということです。またレックによります。レック that's not that. そう稼働しておらず無人でした。いつもは3人ほどが事務、right? 勤務していた原材料。Well, that was a pain in the ass to read. Okay. You can tell my level sucks. Alright. Let's stop that. Okay. お酒で新たに17人の感染確認近畿何それ近畿 region. What is that kanji? Suburbs of capital. And it's not a complicated kanji if you know like ikura or ikoki, but just using field instead of person. Capital. That okay. I could probably think of something like that. Kinki de 20人超。
新たに感染が確認された男
大阪府は新たに17人が新型コロナウイルスに感染したと発表しました。
新たに感染が確認された男女17人のうち11人が感染経路不明。
経路不明。Oh, the infection vector. 感染経路不明。
人が感染経路不明者の濃厚接触者です。
濃厚。接触者です。
全員が軽症または無症状で、16人が30代以下だということです。また、京都府では新たに20代から30代の男女9人の感染が確認され、うち6人が京都市内の飲食店で開かれた同じパーティーに参加していました。パーティーの参加者が二次会で利用したバーの従業員2人の感染も確認され、
従業員2人が感染も確認され、
京都市はクラスターが発生したとしています。他にも兵庫県で1人の感染が確認されるなど、近畿では新たに28人の感染が確認され、20人を超えるのは5月9日以来56日ぶりとなります。新たに感染
Okay, that was enough enough. Yeah, and like even in the city where I'm living, like there was one case that was recently found, which it sounds kind of, because again, you look in the States, like I think they had like they're approaching 60,000 infected new cases per day. And then of course, obviously, when it comes with cases, and you gotta expect the lag of deaths to be, follows about 2 weeks later. That's when you start having people start getting to the hospital and start dying. Or again, that's when the hospitals start getting flooded. That's when things get really dangerous. So it's not so dangerous. It could become dangerous if they don't take it seriously. So they need to take it seriously because they know, looking at other countries, how bad it can get if you let it get out of hand. Now they are trying to open up stuff like, we got stores and people walking around, but again, wear the mask, keep the distance. It's just weird that it's not about social shaming here. Again, these help each other. So if you're not infected, not wearing a mask and keeping it doesn't matter. I mean, that's the problem is like you don't know if you are infected. Hence the reason, keep your distance. So if you do get infected during that time, you're not then infecting someone else accidentally. That's one of the reasons. So like the mask just means that whatever you're breathing out, you're not like blowing air in a wide dispersal. It's in a smaller dispersal around your person. It's still going to disperse, but in a slower fashion, which means less likely because it's not really aerosol, it's aerosol, but it'll still float down to the ground. That's the whole idea. It's like, okay, it might float a little bit, but it's going to settle to the ground, and there you're not likely not going to be picking it up unless you're like licking the floor. And if you're doing that, you're going to have other issues anyway. But unfortunately, you got people that, again, if you got a big cluster of infections, and then you're in an area where, again, businesses are open and they don't care about distancing, they don't care about masks, they don't care about any of that stuff, and you get these people around, then all of a sudden that virus goes yummy, 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 and starts going person to person. So that's what you really want to avoid. And a lot of countries are doing it right. You got some states, and the problem with, again, you got states in the U.S., but you could do it right. But even if you got a state that's trying to do it right, like California, it's so big, it's got this cluster of population, it doesn't give a shit, that thinks that somehow these masks are a violation of their rights, even though, let me ask this common sense real quick. If you ever gone to let's say a bar, and they made you buy a wristband, and you have to wear the wristband to come into the bar, is that a violation of your rights? No, it's the bar controlling who gets to get entry. If they charge you $1 to get in, are your rights being violated? No. Again, they're saying, hey, we want to limit who comes in. In this case, it's a cover charge. They could say no shirts, no shoes, no service. Again, it's a private business kind of limiting. Within reason. You don't do this against a protected class. But you not wanting to wear something is not making you a protected class. Okay? That's a choice on your part. That's, So I'm not seeing a lot of these arguments, and they just sound so insincere. Almost like, and then they're making shit up. Like, they're claiming like, oh, they got asthma and the mask irritates your asthma. But then it's like, well, okay, then maybe you shouldn't actually go to areas because you're putting yourself at risk. And in fact, you should be wearing even better masks. Well, no, it's a violation. They were lying. They don't have asthma. There is no irritation. They're just being assholes. So, but again, they've made something that oh man, that's the problem when you're looking at the world. Because again, you are like here they're being paranoid because one person, and not the paranoid in a positive way. One person got found in the city because it's been a few weeks since that happened. That happened a few weeks back, and it was considered serious concern. But again, other people were tested and it wasn't found to have been spread. So cool, awesome. All right, can you imagine that in some states, like how excited it would be if it was just down to one person? Whereas now, again, you're in cities where like you're talking about hundreds, if not thousands. Among the states of Florida, Texas, Arizona, and then California is gonna. And again, the stuff that was happening in the states is other issues, like with the protesting and whatnot. But if the protesters were doing things right, again, you can still keep the social distance and wearing the mask. Then yeah, you can protest, and it's out in the open in the air, so that helps. Where the chance of you running it, as long as you ever heard the saying like if you sneeze, given enough time, everything that came out of that sneeze is going to be entering the lungs of every person in the world. Statistically, it's going to, happen. But again, that one particle isn't going to do shit, right? It's just being paranoid over statistics. There is something where you get it down to a point where it might as well be zero, effectively zero, and you got to approach these things rationally. I shouldn't go into this too much. It just, it just feels stupid even saying it. It's just that, on my Facebook feed where I've got people from my hometown in the States, and also some areas in the States, and also in Japan, and you got some insane replies. It's almost like, it's insane. They've made it a political issue. There's no reason to be political. It's saying, hey, the government is saying do this for a reason, to keep, protect the common good, to promote the common good, the common defense. Defense doesn't have to be against an invading country. It can be against a pandemic or an emergency or a national, they made this big deal about 4th of July because, it's July 5th here, but July 4th in the States. It's still a little bit. But you read the U.S. Constitution, and the preamble is about general welfare, protection, common defense, and it's if there's a fire, maybe thinking about a birthday party is not the best time. Take care of the fire, then you can worry about a birthday party. Sure. If there's an earthquake, maybe thinking about fireworks is not a good idea at the time. Take care. There's going to be some issues to handle with the stuff with the earthquake. If you got a hurricane's coming your way, all right, maybe talking about going to Sunday school is not the best time. You're like, hey, look, okay, it's your right to religion, but let's say, hey, we got to have, right now we got a hurricane coming this way. Everyone's got to be boarded up and preferably evacuate the area type thing. Because if there's a problem, we can't get you out because our methods of getting you out are going to be hampered. These are things. This is not an invasion of your rights, as in, again, it's the welfare of everyone. Otherwise, we got to say, look, okay, but at least in those cases, like, okay, look, you've decided to abandon good reason and put yourself in harm's way. We're not going to risk the lives of others to save you once it realizes your gamble fucked up. All right. Because that's kind of like bullshit. Where if you're a private company and you don't want the government you don't want to pay taxes to the government, but if your company starts failing, you want the government to bail you out. It's like, well, fuck you then. All right, you gotta pay into the insurance if you want the insurance to pay out, and that's kind of like what the government is in a way. The whole in the idea of a socialist structure, as in it can still be privacy, but you want to have the socialist structure there to take care of stuff. I don't know why I'm talking about this. We're about hitting the 30-minute mark. This a little article here, and it's kind of funny. Again, we're just 20 or something, some odd people in a big city like Osaka, and you get in the States or in Russia or in Brazil, and you got all these huge ass numbers because you've got people that are treating it like it's a political issue as opposed to, again, a virus doesn't vote. It's going to do what it does. That's like arguing with an avalanche. You got to either get out of the way or prepare in some way, but pretending it's not there is you're just going to end up getting buried. Um, hurricanes don't last half a year, though. In a way, you do have hurricane season, so you got to think about that. It's a difficult issue, sure. How do you balance individual right? And let's say, hey, you know, if you got an asteroid that's going to be coming, here's another good idea. You know, if a major solar flare hits on the sun, scientists are going to detect that, and they're going to say, look, we got to turn off all our electronics for a few days. All right, because the flare is going to hit. It's going to hit the Van Allen belt. It's going to, again, the particles are going to start essentially, you know, collect on the poles, but you know, if it's strong enough, it's going to essentially, you know, decimate the Van Allen belt, where all the particles are then going to start hitting around the atmosphere and setting off electronics. Anything that is a copper line is going to be having, you know, a massive amounts of electricity going through it, type thing, right? So, and there's you got to say, hey, look, you got to shut everything down, and it's going to be dangerous, even then. But if you don't do this, it's going to be destroyed. Whereas if you do it, let the thing sweep over, then bring everything back up. Now it works. But if you play this whole individual rights thing where it's like, I don't want to put on a mask, and you're an infection vector, well, now you've infected other people, and then they have the same mindset, then more people get infected. The society can handle the one moron fine, if it was just one moron, but because it's a large collection of morons, now you've impacted society at a larger level. So now you're feeling of wanting to go and sling. Like I said, if you're slinging, let's say you're in your rights in your head, you think you have the right to reach your hand down in your pants, pull out shit, and just fling it. Okay, if you're just in your room, okay, fine, you made your room shitty, but no one else got shit on them. But you're doing it out in public, right? So, and this is different. Like someone who says, "I don't want to wear a seatbelt because it's my God-given right to fly through the windshield when I crash into the back of a school bus or something, whatever." But again, it's really, you just put yourself in harm's way, all right? You've limited the harm to others. But let's say drinking and driving, okay, it's your God-given right to drink, it's your God-given right to drive. Well, now you're putting other people's lives at risk. So it makes sense, like, hey, if you're drinking and driving, we're going to curtail that freedom of yours, okay? All right, that's it. I mean, it's a law saying, hey, we don't want you to harm others. And that's really what a lot of this does. If what you're doing harms others, that's where the rights come into play. But some of it also is like, this is hypocrisy. You know, these same people who are saying they shouldn't be able to, they don't want to be told to wear a mask in a private store. Like the store person who owns the store is saying, hey, if you don't wear a mask, I don't want you in my store. They're saying that, they're claiming that's an affront to their rights. These are the same people who are cheering businesses saying you couldn't come in my store if you're gay. God knows how you even know a person's gay or not, but they were like saying, yeah, that's freedom, that's private business, you know. So it's, you know, it's hypocrisy at worst. I'm sorry, hypocrisy at best. But again, you're endangering the lives of others. That's all. So I mean, it's not a fine line there. All right, it's saying, hey, look, we cannot control this virus. Our technology, we have science, we have technology. In a few months, we'll be able to have a vaccine that, again, makes this thing like, okay, an inconvenience as opposed to a deadly pandemic. But we're not to that point yet. We got to wait till that point, and then, all right, and we've already showed, like in Japan and all these other countries, you can also open up as long as you do it smartly. They never did the smart stuff. They weren't doing, like in these other countries that made it political, they weren't doing the testing or the tracking or the the testing or the tracking, or even just saying, hey, look, encouraging the population to do the right thing. And anyway, sorry about that. Let me read the comments real quick. Hurricanes don't last half a year. It's a difficult issue for sure. How do you balance individual rights with collective well-being? That should be simple enough. It's 2020. Everything gets to be political. It's always been political, no matter the reason. Always playing the victim card. Yeah. So, yeah, you got the people saying, like, I'm tough, but everyone's out to get me. Like, I can be, you know, only I can think, but everyone's out to get me. You're playing both the strong man and the weak man at the same time, the victim and the oppressor. You know, you got to be both. You know, and it's always depending on what the line of attack is, and it's obvious when you look at it. It's just so blatantly obvious, and or the ones that just don't even they pretend like anything they wrote previous to that doesn't count on their side. But everything you wrote previous to that will count. So anything that can be used against you is fine. But you can't use anything. Basically, they're playing like heads I win, tails you lose. They're playing that game. and it's at a. But the problem is, like, we're doing. It was okay, sort of, when it was just politics, as in, okay, yeah, you're an asshole. We get it. You hate brown people. You're not going to admit it out loud until actually some of them started admitting it out loud. Okay, great, you're an asshole. That just means I don't have to do business with you. Fine. But again, what's happening now is lives are being lost. And not just a small number. Not statistical as in what the virus would have done. Yeah, that's just the dumbest part. It's like this is it's not even self-inflicted. It's inflicted by a person who is consciously amoral. That's the worst part. Right? It's done by people who are in positions of power that's chosen to take advantage of people who buy into hypocrisy and fear-mongering. They've just done that. And it's just, unfortunately, the wrong person and wrong group of people who happen to be in power at the worst time, which really, if you're the wrong person in a global sense in power, it's almost always the wrong time. There's something always going to be popping up. It's just that now we're experiencing it from the United States side of things. You know, this is like the first real major thing that has happened. We already saw it with hurricanes. We've seen the government's responses to hurricanes in the U.S., and that's sickening what they do. I mean, you've got essentially people in the federal government saying, well, this material that we've got, the federal stockpile, is only for us. And it's like, who the fuck do you think us is? It's the states. I mean, United States. That is us, the U.S. That is literally the U.S. But they've got that mindset. Like, but they're not doing it like, they don't mean us. They mean, and I already know what they're doing. They're using those stockpiles to sell to private companies that then sell it back to the government at profit. All right, basically, it's cronyism. It's literally corruption. I'm sorry, I'm getting way into the politics. I apologize. Yeah, it's the fifth here, but yeah. Okay, let's see, it's 37 minutes. Let's get to the reading. I really got set off. I apologize. Okay, so Ron Steins Gate. It's been a week. I've kind of forgotten how episode 10 sort of ended. Sorry about that. Let's see. Oh, so you added another lab member? Let's see. Okay. Okay, yeah, okay. So that's, ladies, guys, continue looking for a father. All right, let's get started. I drank too much coffee, that's why I'm hyper. Wait a minute. Okay, August 10th. And by the way, his Steins Gate count, the percentage count, keeps getting lower and lower, so I think it's around the 30s now. Let's see.
$5秒でいい。ミスター・ブラウンの注意を引きつけ。実験による衝撃が起きたことを気づかないようにしてもらいたい。
わかったわかった。そうなったら色仕掛けだね。触ってみ、結構硬いから。
あ、確かに。
でしょ？任せて。
色仕掛けだよな。
Means that exotic or kind of feminine oils. Right? Okay. Kind of like flirting, right? Feminine charms. Yeah.
そうだけど。
まあいい、頼むぞ。
オキドキ。今だ。
女子寮決行だ。
結構？
なんだ？
あっちゃー、失敗。
てめえ何度言ったらもう。
止まった。
助手がいやこれはまさか。
何がまさかだ。
Okay. And take it Jiku Gankai? What is that supposed to be? Jiku Kyokai? Dogma of space time. Okay. Whatever. Oh, Jiku, so space and time and space. Alright, makes sense, yeah.
つまり偶然にも1階の42型ブラウン管がリフターの代わりとして作用していた。故に工房が営業中でテレビがついている時間しかD メールを送れなかったか。確かに説明がつくわね。
大声を出すな、頭に響く。
大丈夫？
ミスター・ブラウンね。暴力に訴えるとは。
まあ自業自得とも言えるけどね。
自業自得. I like that word. That phrase right there is pretty good. 自業自得. Yeah. You get what you deserve.
実験をしたいと言ったのは貴様だろう。
とにかくこれで電話レンジの仕組みはほぼ解明できた。となると次は
物理的タイムトラベルの可能性について考えるべきだろう。
無理。
1秒で否定するな。
どう工夫しても下痢状になるのがオチよ。
工夫、いろいろと考えて。工夫しても。
だいたい人間を36バイトなんてデータに。
こんな時に自慢か？
あんたに自慢してどうするのよ。論文のタイトルを見て。側頭葉に蓄積された。
側頭葉。蓄積。
記憶に関する神経パルス信号の解析。
日本語で OK だよ。
要するに人の記憶に関する論文。脳科学専攻なの私。脳の中の記憶は簡単に言うとパルス信号によって蓄積されていくものなの。一種の
蓄積。蓄積されていくの。
電気的なデータ。
データ？
まさか。
そう。人間を物理的に送ることは到底無理だけど。
到底無理。所詮到底無理。
記憶データだけなら送ることは可能かもしれない。
容量、同じ容量で。
ここに？
過去の自分によ。記憶をデータ化して D メールと同じ容量で過去に送る。要は今の自分の頭の中身だけを過去の自分に移植するわけ。
移植するわけ。過去の自分に。
つまり過去に自分が戻る。
タイムトラベルというよりはタイムリープね。
俺だ。全ての線は一本に繋がった。計画はこれより最終段階に入る。現代を司る女神オペレ
司る。役名としてその仕事をする。司る女神
ションベルダンディの開始だ。
ベルダンディ
わけわかめ。
少しはどういうことか説明しなさいよ。
お前の言うタイムリープを採用すると言っているのだ。すぐに始めろ。
って言われても開発にはいくつか材料が必要よ。もっとも側頭葉に蓄積されている記憶の信号を読み取ればいいだけだから秋葉で揃うと思うけど。ただ
どうした？
一つは電話レンジじゃ人間の記憶のデータを圧縮するには力不足の可能性が高いってこと？
圧縮。圧縮。力不足の可能性が。
それと
なんだ？
いえ、いいわ。今必要なパーツを書き出すから。
マユシーは難しすぎてさっぱりです。
さっきクリスティーナも言っていたではないか。今のこの自分の意識を過去に飛ばすのだ。
なんかおっかなそう。 D メールじゃダメなのかな。
D
かなそう。かなそう。
イメールは不確定要素が多すぎる。
不確定要素が多すぎる。
たった一通のメールで予期せぬことが起きてしまう。
予期せぬ unexpected。 予期せぬことが。
記憶を過去に戻すのは平気なの？
少なくとも過去改変についてある程度コントロールが可能になる。秋葉の街を変えてしまうような変化は。
街を？
いや、なんでもない。
あれ、でも記憶を過去に送った後の自分はどうなっちゃうんだろう。体はここに残ったままなんでしょ？
それは。
それと今マユシーはこうやってオカリンとお話ししてるでしょ？そのマユシーが1週間前に飛んで1週間をやり直したとするでしょ？その時オカリンとお話ししないように行動したらどうなっちゃうのかな。
それはおそらくマユリの中に記憶は残るが、話したという事実は消える。
つまりマユシーはお話ししたことを覚えてるのにオカリンは全然知らないってことになるの？
そうだな。
だとしたらね、なんだか寂しいね。
俺が？
マユシーが。あ、萌香さんだ。萌香さん。てってる
ー。ずいぶん浮かない顔をしているな、シャイニングフィンガーよ。タイムマシンは破棄した？
まだ使ってるよ。それでね、今度はタイムリープができるかもしれないんだ。
軽々しく話すな。
でも萌香さんもラボメンだよ。
それはそうだが。タイムリープって何？文字通りの意味だ。記憶の時間跳躍を可能にする。
So that's a leap, right? 跳躍。飛び上がること。跳ねること。跳躍。
記憶の。
萌香さん？
おえ？
萌香さん、大丈夫か
な。秋葉を先に回った方が効率的か。
まゆりお姉ちゃん。今度はなえちゃんだ。
That's now, right? No.
どうしたの？ウィース。
まだその格好なのか。
いや、店長に一日それでいろって怒られちゃってさ。
良い子には微妙に目の毒だぞ。
毒？
目の毒、I think evil eye, right? Temptation. Oh. Tempting. Okay. 微妙に目の毒だぞ。
毒物は持ち歩かないようにしてるけど。はあ？それより苗がさ、岡部倫太郎に話があるって探してたんだよ。
俺に？
ごめんなさい。さっきはお父さんがひどいことして。苗ちゃん。
それを言うためにわざわざ。なんとよくできた小動物。
小動物じゃないよ。
案ずるな。
案ずる。あれこれを考える。幸福。空腹。空腹。案ずる。
俺もミスター・ブラウンにはいつも迷惑をかけている。おあいこだ。
岡部倫太郎っぽくないね。
おあいこだ。
オカリンはいつもこうだよ。じゃあマユシーはそろそろ行くのです。
待ち合わせか？
レイヤーの吹雪ちゃんこそ私に行くんだ。
そういやそろそろ込みまっか。
じゃあね。すずさんとなえちゃんも。
Make sure about コミキマ。
トゥットゥルー。またねじゃあ私らも帰ろうか。
いや俺はまだクリスティーナに頼まれたパーツを探さねば。
マキセ・クリスはセルンに通じている。
セルンのスパイ。まさかな。ヌルポ
が
ヌルパ。No pointer. Nonsense. ヌルポ。
お頭なく近づくなんて反則よ。
やはり書き込んでいたのはアットチャンネルか。
ハンガーは反則。反則よ。
貴様が生粋のアットチャンネルだと気づいたのは。
きついのあった。
ずいぶん前だ。
違う。
今さら隠したところで何の意味もない。
うつだ。
まあいい。 これからクリスティーナにはネラーの称号を正式に与える。
これ以上
葬式正式。That's her name. 称号。
変な呼び名を付け出すなっていうか内緒にしておいてよ。
なぜだ。履歴書に堂々と書けばいいではないか。
履歴書に堂々と書けばいい。
趣味アットチャンネルと学者がネラーとなればスレの一つや二つ立つだろう。
となればスレを一つ二つ。
だってどうする。
なら VIP で安価を出すことの方がいいというのか。
意味がわかる自分が憎い。
しかし安心したぞ。そこまで自分を隠すのが下手な人間がスパイとは考えられんな。
I would assume with 2chan or at Chan, since it's the version of 2chan, you know, most people just post anonymously. So if she's posting with an account name, yeah. I mean, anyone can post. My understanding is like anybody could post under that name if they wanted to. So I don't know if they were using passwords for, you know, reserving an account name. I wasn't looking at the screen, so I didn't get that there. You know, he had seen her. I'm assuming he had seen her user name, so that's why he's teasing her about that. I'm assuming because I wasn't looking at the. Hence, that's one of the main problems doing this Let's Read, where I'm reading, so I'm not paying attention to the show. So what's on the visuals, so you could miss something that way.
は？何それ。
いや、バイト選手がクリスティーナはセルンのスパイだと言い出して。
何なのよその言いがかり。そんなわけないでしょ。
まったくだ。貴様は機関から送られてきたイエージェントであり、今は心を入れ替え我が助手として働いているのだからな。
それも違う。
それで作業の方はどうなっているのだ。
作業？
タイムリープだ。パーツは全て買ってきたぞ。
ああ、そうよね。作るべきよね。ここまで来たんだから。
どういうことだ。怖くなったのか。
それもある。もし本当にできてしまったらどうなるんだろうって。けどそれより。
なんだ。
話しておくべきね。どうせこっちも半分はバレてるみたいだし。やっぱりここじゃ無理。あんたの顔が見えないとこにして。私、父親との間にちょっと問題を抱えてるの。
ではアーカンソーで雷に打たれ。
That's Arkansas or Arkansas? Arkansas. Okay.
クリスティーナの父がダークサイドに落ちたという。
茶化すならもう話さない。
茶化する。茶化すな。茶化すな。
分かった、聞かせてもらおう。
簡単に言うと父に嫌われているの。憎まれてる。しかも娘じゃなく科学者として、ライバルとして。私の父は物理学者だったの。私は小さい頃から父の難しい物理学の話を聞くのが好きだった。おかげで小学校の高学年ぐらいで父の論文が理解できるようになったわ。そして自分で論文を書いたり賞をもらえるようになった。でも賞なんてどうでもよかった。私は父と議論ができるのが楽しかった。メールでいくつも論文を交わして議論を深めて。でもいつしか父は私の相手をしなくなった。議論を楽しんでいる間に私は論破していたの。
Not like destroyed the argument, right? 論破 議論して相手の説をうまくする。うん。OK。論破して。
父の誤りを指摘し、父のプライドを知らずに傷つけていた。父は母に当たるようになった。自信を
Assume that means beating, but let's see. 当たる。Yeah. 当たるようになった。
になって次第に学会から見放されていった。最後に会った時に父は私にこう言ったの。私は哀れんでいるのか、蔑んでいるのか。
蔑す。Look down on, maybe, scorn, despise, okay, look down on. 蔑すん。
娘の分際でって。
分際。
タイムリープできる装置を私が作ったとしたら、父は間違いなく怒り狂うと思う。今まで以上に。
それで作るのをためらっていたのか。
でも心配しないで。どうせ作るから。あんたが言うように私は実験大好きだから、何かを見つけたら確かめずにはいられない。父がそうだったように、父と私が過ごした時間がそうだったように。
ならばすぐにオペレーションベルダンディに取り掛かる。もたもたしてる暇はない。
もたもた。
カンはすぐそこに迫っているのだから。
結局それ。
当たり前だ。俺は法王隠居魔。世界の構造を変革する使命がある。
話すんじゃなかった。
それと同時に和解にも行く。父親は今。
和解。Restore peace. 小説。No. Oh, restore. Yes, restoration. Okay. Reconciliation. 和解にも。
どこにいる？
青森だけど。
Aomori, that's a very wealthy area of Tokyo. Yeah, that's right next to like where the area where all the embassies are at as well.
行くとなれば資金の問題もある。
Make sure, actually, what's it? Yeah, I think so. Because it's like, let's see. Hiro, then Aomori, and that's also where Blue Note is at, I think.
時期が決まったら早めに声をかけてくれ。
ってまさか一緒に来るつもりか？
当たり前だ。お前には我が野望のため最高の
野望。野望。Great desire. 野望のため。
精神状態で働いてもらわねばならん。この法王隠居魔が一緒に行ってその場の空気を読んだ見事な話題を提供し、 親子のわだかまりを解消してやる。
わだかまり。心の中にdoubt. So a little doubt left. You're feeling reserves. Okay. わだかまり解消してよ。
何それ。あんた自称マッドサイエンティストでしょ。空気読んでどうするのよ。
それは旦那。なぜ笑う。
あんたってたまにいいやつだから困るのよね。
俺の偉大さが分かったら作業に戻れ。
はいはい、言っとくけどもう決定だから無理やりでも連れて行くからな。
望むところだ。
あれ、まゆりちゃん、どうしたのこんな大荷物。オカリンとかいうのを呼んだ方がいいんじゃないの。
That's the ramen shop owner, right? Okay. Mayuri. Tenju. Oh, wait.
大丈夫。もう少しなので。
ここ見なさいよ。ちゃんと書いてあるでしょ、マキセって。
マキセプリンと読めるではないか。森永さんちのプリンも小祝さんちのプリンも同じだろう。
ヘリ
石小祝か。小祝さん。
靴を言うな。
だいたいマキセとは何。
Heriksu. That's like a pointless, making a pointless argument or something. Heriksu. Quibble. Small point. Heriksu. Yeah, point. Okay, pointless. Okay, yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, tatenai herikutsu. Herikutsu.
ものだ。
私の名前だ。
クリスティーナ・マキセか。だったら素直にクリスティーナと書いておけばうっかり無駄なカロリーを摂取せずに済んだもん。
摂取せずに。
人のものを勝手に食べといて。大体それ私のスプーンでしょ。勝手に使わないでよ。
貴様もラボのフォークを勝手に使っているではないか。
どうしたのそれ。
コスの材料とマユシーのお泊まりセットだよ。
お泊まり？
コミマ用のコスを作るのです。
コミマ。
本当に大丈夫なの？ご両親は？
ちゃんと行ってきたよ。クリスちゃんもお泊まりでしょ。電話レンジの改良で。
そうね、そうしようかと思っていたけど、ただここに泊まると気がめいるのよね。
気がめえるのよね。
おーい、なんとかさんが勝手に人のプリンを食べるから。
ほーい、今日まだ名前ぐらい覚えろ。
あんたに言われたくない。つうかプリンの方はスルーか。
帰った方がいいか
な。私は泊まってもいいけど、だとしたら岡部は出てった方がいいわね。
なんだって。俺にとってラボは魂のセミか。
スミカ。すまい。住所。セミカ。スミカ。
出ていくなど。
He got kicked out.
なぜ一緒に泊まる条件が買い出しに行くことになるのだ。考えてみれば昨日からずっと助手のお使いをしているような。 クリスティーナか。何を浮かれている。ラボメンとしての本分を忘れるん。
本文としての本文を忘れる。
浮かれてなんかないわよ、バカ。
何？
なんでもないわ。早く入っちゃうわよ、岡部が戻ってくる前に。また女子か。
Loris LT80 Pat GHQ9s 知りすぎた。You know too much.
なんだ。
That's creepy.
マユリ、マユリ。
許さない、絶対許さないからな。
おかりん、マユシーはとっても悲しいし恥ずかしいのです。
たく、風呂場を覗いた上に買い出しも全部忘れてきたって。ほんと信じらんない。ちょっと岡部。
おかりん？あ、ダルくん。
どうしたのこんな夜に。
やっぱり外からパソコンアクセスして何か変と思ってたんだけど。
何かあったの？
今ここセルンの中心部とダイレクトで回線がつながってる。セルン？システムを掌握したというのか。まあね。
小悪、小悪、Director 手の中にことControl Seas grass
キリと言いたいところだけど、実際はなんかわからないうちにつながっていた。いつの間にかセルンが勝手に全裸待機してた的な。
Zenra, fully exposed, right? Stark naked. Zenda Taiki, and waiting for a chance. Okay.
ワクテカ？
ちょっと待って。
ワクテカ。ワクテカ？
こっちが何もしてないのに繋がっているって、つまりセルンの方がこっちの動きに気づいて逆にアクセスしてきたってことじゃないの？
でもバレるようなヘマはしてないはずだし、今ならこっちから LHC だって使い放題だよ。セル
LHC が？ 携帯に何かあったの？
いや、なんでもない。
I think that's it. Alright, so that was started around, what was it, 37 minutes? So 20, okay, so that's about the same. It's taking me like 40 minutes to get through a 20-minute show. And this is text heavy, so that's kind of good. Part of me is, what I should do is kind of go a bit more seriously with the studying, in that, you know, if I did about 20 words a day, as opposed, like I was doing 20 words a day and kind of back down to 10, but I think if I add a bit more study time, go again back to 20 words a day, I could, so in about 5 days I've gone through what is a show. No need to spoil you or anything, but the next episodes are sort of heartbreaking. Well, fuck! I might as well quit now. You kind of just ruined everything. Jeez. That's alright. What are some, I don't think there's been anything that's been like, I don't know if it's heartbreaking as in, I've seen like super heartbreaking, and yeah, I mean, maybe the show will do it. Like, I'm trying to think. It's some of the dramas I watched. Like I remember there's a there was a drama called Ichiriteru no Namida, like 1 liter of tears, and it ain't lying. I'll put it that way. It's essentially it started off as a book. I think it was a book about a mother documenting, you know, the life of her daughter after she's been diagnosed with essentially a terminal disease, some type of neuromuscular disease. And then there was also a you know, movie, but also a drama. So the drama was about 10 episodes or whatnot, and yeah, it was just like, I didn't even want to try to bother past the first episode. Just the you know, again, you know, it didn't feel like watching shows. It's gonna just kind of like essentially rip you apart emotionally, you know. So there was that. Sometimes, you know, you do. You feel like I have had it where, like, you know, I feel like I wanted to watch a show that makes me sad, you know, sometimes. But, you know, that one looked like it was going to go a bit too much. Oh, wow. Yeah, on TV right now it's like Goksen, like the first season of Goksen. So, that's another. That was a drama which I've only seen. I watched it with subtitles, like English subtitles, and I realized it's a drama where I liked it, but only because the first half, and then the second half of each episode. So first half of each episode, it was more comedic. That was fun to watch, and then the second half was just so freaking annoying. It was like, because it went into the heavy drama, and so I started just watching the first half, then skipping to like the last part of the second half where they concluded everything, and everything was fine and dandy after that. And I noticed there was quite a few comedies that follow that same pattern. Like, and if you go back and watch, let's say, Zettai Kadeshi, it does the same thing, comedic, and then they have something serious in the second half, and every episode follows that same pattern, and then it ends with each episode ends with a little bit of comedy. Then near the end of the series, then there's like the whole episode kind of starts being like, especially the final episode tries to be all dramatic, like, because everyone's going their own separate ways. And I'm assuming like a lot of comedies of the dramas, like comedic dramas, follow that same pattern, it seems like. Exceptions are like Ryusei no Kizuna, where, you know, again, it'll change. It'll go from super dramatic to heavy to comedy to light to serious again. So it went back and forth. So I thought the person who wrote that did a very good job in keeping your emotions like he did, because usually when you do the comedy drama stuff, like, you know, Goksen is like the first half is fun and enjoyable, second half just isn't funny at all. It's like, and you just like, you're slapping your head like, why the fuck are you doing that type? And it's just like kind of like, you know, it just the what a normal human would do. You just don't see it happening. Oh, Mother. Oh, God. Mother was also a sad one. My Girl, another one is Bara no Nai Hanaya. So, the flower shop without roses. That was another one, because, again, it starts with the mother of the little girl dying. That just starts off. So the father has to raise the daughter alone. And it's got a weird plot, about a lady pretending to be blind and some other stuff. Like, because his wife that passed away, I guess the father never forgave the son for that or something. I don't know. I never watched the full series, but it is, again, another one sad. Yeah, heartbreak. You gotta be careful with My Girl, because there's two types of, there's Oh My Girl and there's My Girl. My Girl's the sad one. Oh My Girl is the comedy drama one that, like, it's a guy who's his niece is like a very famous child actress, and the niece is his sister, kind of like basically puts the daughter in his care for some reason, and then so the daughter lives with him in this really cheap apartment, but she's like, it goes, again, it just goes all against the whole idea of, like, anything happening in reality. But so it's, again, first half's funny, second half is drama, and every episode follows that same pattern. Ouroboros, that drama sounds familiar. That really sounds familiar. Then there's another one. Now this is a heavy drama. Was Theseus's ship, or Theseus's Fune? Like, was it Theseus' ship, or why am I forgetting? It's like it's basically one of the gentlemen. There's like the theory of replacing each plank one at a time. So I forgot the name of the person, but yeah, it was a drama there. It's also but that was more of a time travel drama. There's other dramas that are also kind of heavy as well. What is it? Genya. Genya is another one. That was set during the Tokyo earthquake, or during the earthquake. Yeah, that's also another heavy drama. There's lots of good heavy dramas, and I think they're fine to watch. Yeah. I was just talking about, just happened to have Goksen was here, and it's interesting because there's a lot of, it's got starred, like, the guy who's Matsumoto Jun. I think he's in band Arashi. But again, they're also like super young, because this is like 20 years ago, this drama, or it's approaching 20 years ago. So they're all like super young comparatively. So yeah. Yeah, and that's a great thing about if you're learning Japanese, is that you got so many, depending on what you enjoy, what you like, you got so many choices. So find one that's good. Don't feel guilted into watching stuff you don't enjoy. If you're not a fan of visual novels, or it's just not clicking with you, who cares? Find something else. If you're not a fan of light novels, you prefer regular books, fine. If you're not a fan of Japanese shows, you just for some reason enjoy watching American shows dubbed and subbed in Japanese, fucking go for it. I've seen, you've seen people do that, where they'll watch a cartoon from Japan, but they'll watch it with English subtitles, and someone just like it dubbed in English because they just enjoy the visuals. Who cares? That's them having fun, and you can have 20,000 dramas out there. Yeah, there's plenty of stuff out there. You're not gonna be able to watch it all or read it all. So find the stuff that's good for you and enjoy it. And the more you read of it, the better you're going to get at the language. And I'm trying to talk to this one guy. He's trying to make sure he understands. Hey, he was like saying, like, he wanted his goal to be 40,000 words. Like, okay, don't make that a goal. Okay, if you just read a lot and listen a lot, you'll obtain that goal more naturally. You're gonna start picking up words through the consuming of the language, because that way you're not taking time out. You don't have to learn something directly. You will start learning it intuitively, just through a natural process, which is really what you want to go. You just kind of have to, you're basically trying to get over that hump to where all of a sudden you're not, where now the language could take you there without worrying too much about direct study. You can still do direct study and still do some practices on the things that are not going to be don't happen naturally. Hence the reason why I keep the kanji deck. Don't delete your kanji deck, but just use your kanji deck and keep it in your mind as like, look, you're not writing out kanji by hand all the time. So, since that's not going to be happening naturally through your consuming of the language, use that as a spaced repetition. So it's the minimum amount of repetition to keep your skills up in that. Make sense? Similarly with spelling, like if you're probably not going to be typing or writing stuff out by hand, so maybe, or spelling even. Like you're never going to go into a spelling, like make sure, hey, what's the correct kanji that goes into a word? So maybe use the Tango deck as saying, make sure, hey, these are the specific set of words I want to have the ability where if I hear it, I know how to write it. You don't have to physically write it, just know how to write it. And then that's going to give you the minimum amount of spaced repetition to make sure, yeah, you do comprehend that part. But most of it, though, you want your reading and your listening to come from your reading and listening of fun stuff, hence the immersion. So they can work hand in hand. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It's just, okay, they're doing separate things, and it's going to complement your overall ability in the language. All right? And that's just, all this is really coming with consuming of the material. When it comes to output, again, you could probably output just output. So just, there's like here you hear the word and repeat it instead of trying to read out loud. So you're repeating it and you're hearing it as it really should be said. And so when you repeat it that way, it sounds as close to natural as it's going to get, most likely. And just keep doing that. You do that for, just say, hey, I'm going to, once a day, just say once a day you're going to take a drama and repeat every line in that drama. So hear it and repeat it. Just once a day. And it could be a new drama or an old drama. However you want to do it. Just have fun. Or it could be an audio book. Just say for this audio book I'm going to do it for 10 minutes of audio or 20 or 30 minutes of audio. Whatever. Just say, play the line, pause, repeat the line. Play the line, pause, repeat the line. You can be with text. Later on you hopefully can start doing it without text. Kind of up your ability. And then later on, maybe just, make it longer. Like instead of one sentence, make it 2 sentences. I don't know. Or play for a segment and then try to repeat it. Whatever, just trying to express a scene. And that can help you with the talking. So that's, just using stuff that's... Because I'm sure people in school probably remember in high school, like reading stuff out loud. And some people were good at it, some people weren't, but it... they talked fine, just reading from a book was kind of difficult. So maybe it's just easier to repeat what someone says instead of trying to read it out loud without ever hearing it. I don't know. I'm spitballing here. It's just something you can do. There's nothing stopping you. And just do it. Just get used. I have done it where I've been on camera and read out loud. I've read for an hour or two, just out loud to the camera. All right? It was the transcript to Zettai Kareshi. I did it for episodes 1 through 4. I've done it. There are some benefits to it, and the more you do it, the better you get. But right now, I'm just holding off. I'm saying I'm not too concerned with it now. Maybe when I get to that 10,000 word mark, I've read and consumed a lot more Japanese, then I can worry about the output again. So I'm not worried about outputting as much now. Because, if you saw that little bit of me with the news, like my output now sucks. It was sucking, and that was me trying to read a news article. Maybe that's a bad example, but still it sucked. KOFX. I feel so lucky for once to know there's a million resources to acquire Japanese, which I can say for sure is not the case for... Yeah. If you're trying to do Latin, you're fucked. I think for fun, they have some stuff that's been translated into Latin, but most of your resources are stuff that is old stuff in Latin, which, may not just be fun to read. And it's hard to get good at a language consuming stuff that's not fun to read. It can happen, but then it becomes more of a chore as opposed to a passion. But I think, Spanish, French, German, there's probably lots of good stuff in those. Like Russian actually has some really good stuff that people, love reading, Russian novels and watching Russian television. Chinese, again. And I think really of the major languages, you've got plenty of resources. And plus they translate stuff into that language. So you've got that as well. And you just enjoy it. And you don't even have to worry about, like, to understand some stuff written in Japan, it helps to understand the culture, because again, it helps like if you don't know what Akihabara is, it kind of messes up a little bit about this particular show. But understanding the culture, you kind of get like some of the humor that it can still be funny, but you might, you just might miss some of the jokes if you don't understand the culture. That there's a reason why this makes it funny. If you walk like I was about to say about a show like it was called Ikebukuro Westgate Park, and it's set in Ikebukuro, so that's kind of like the place people don't go because at night because they feel it's dangerous. It's one of those areas of Japan. You know, it's like they felt that's where, you know, just like you go to Roppongi to get drugs from some foreigner, because that's where anyone who gets caught with marijuana, any celebrity gets caught arrested for marijuana, they always bought it from some foreigner in Roppongi. That's always this. But yeah, Ikebukuro is where you go for, I guess, to or you know, maybe the gangs will hang out, and you know, where you can go to get mugged or something. I don't know. Then there's you know, the area of Tokyo, like I think is it Shibuya or Shinjuku? I think it's Shibuya. Shibuya, which is near there, is Kabukicho. Now Kabuki, you think, oh, Kabuki Theater, right? No, okay, no, that's the red light district of Tokyo, a biggest red light district. There's like a number of red light districts, but that's the biggest. And it's like this, you know, it's almost like the size of Chinatown, Yokohama. I mean, it's a big area. And it's just, you know, again, that's where, you know, where you can go for, you know, prostitutes or not maid cafes. What are the terms? There's health. Okay, health bars. That's basically blowjob bars. There's soap lands, which it used to be called Turkish baths. They changed it to soapland, which that's where you go. That's sex. That's essentially brothel. Then there's dance clubs. So there's some new dancing there, and other stuff as well. Like I said, and then just drink bars as well. So it's a legitimate. Actually, I guess they're all legitimate technically. You know, it depends on, it kind of skirts the law on when it comes about. You know, it's like, it's technically you're getting a massage, and then if you pay for extra, well, that's between you and the other person, so that's completely legal. Just you can't run a business that allows it, something like that. I mean, I don't know the exact laws on how this goes, because again, these are public business. It says right there, Soapland, and you know, Soapland is where you go to have sex. So I mean, it's so it's kind of like pachinko parlors is a gambling place, but gambling's illegal in Japan. But again, they do a rule in such a way that it makes it legal. So basically, they're following. If you go by the letter of the law, then it's completely legal, even though it's completely skirting what the law was intended to do. Yakuza's lair is the yeah, the red light district. So anyway, that's, and then there's Akihabara is the technical place. That's also where you go for the maid cafes. There's Asakusa. Is that Asakusa? That's the area where the Dragon Gates or the Thunder Gates are at, and that's where you go for the big sumo tournament. So that's like the center of Tokyo, and that's very close to the Emperor's Palace. So again, these are all areas of Tokyo. If you know what the areas are, then you kind of can get the plot of certain dramas are set in an area of Tokyo, and sometimes they're set in a different city. So you might have a drama that was set in Yokohama. So I think the recent one was Nigeru Hajida Gedo Yakinitatsu, or like We Married for a Job, I think was the English title of the show. That's set in Yokohama. And you can tell because they always do it from that one area. You can see the Miura Mirai? What is it called? Why am I drawing a blank here? Port of the Future, whatever. It's not Miura Mirai. Whatever. But anyway, it's always has. It's from that same spot. You can tell a lot of dramas. If they have a shot of Yokohama, it's from that spot because you get to see that, the big Ferris wheel and the Queen's buildings and the landmark tower. That's. And then you have other cities. So it's set in Osaka. There'll be you can definitely tell that the stories are set in a city, and you can also tell that it feels like that they'll go to a location. It feels like maybe that company or that business paid the studio to make sure it's set in that one location to drive tourism to that area, for example. So yeah, it's just you notice this in the dramas, So if you live in Tokyo, or I'm sorry, if you live in Japan and you do travel, like go to these, various places for tourism, then you start noticing those places on TV. It's just kind of like I said. I've gone to like Atsumi, and is it Atsumi? Why am I doing so horrible on the names? But Atami, and this is the place. It's a very beautiful beach. But you always see the same scene because he's got it's always up from on the hill or from that one hotel. But you can always see that same shot done in different dramas, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's Atami. You just know it. I don't know why I started talking like this. It's kind of interesting watching dramas. You see all these things. We won't get that from anime. Anime, you probably sometimes they'll show it, but they'll make changes because they can draw it, so they can change all they want. But they might base it on locations. But yeah, for the most part, though, it may be just new scenes. Here's kind of funny. If you ever seen the movie, it was Ghibli movie, Spirited Away, or Sino, I forgot the Japanese title. But in Taiwan, there's apparently a place in Taiwan, and I went to the place with my wife and I, because my wife wanted to go there to see it. I think it's in northern Taiwan, where the visuals of Spirited Away, that one area of the city they were showing, like at night when the lantern, during this very long, narrow stairs, you know, lit up, you know, surrounded by both sides by the stores and lit up by, you know, by the paper lamps, and then yeah, that's the visuals. Like you see that, I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, it looks very similar. And I was like super crowded, like thousands of people wanted to go there and like walk down the stairs and come back up, and you're just like, I mean, it was just a horrible experience, just trying to just move a few feet, because people, you know, you should be going down one side and then coming up the other, as you should do, but they weren't doing that. Like they were trying to like spread out and like walk side by side, and it's a very narrow place, so people were not behaving as they should to try to, you know, I blame it also a little part on how they had it. They could have set that up better, like set up little barriers to make sure, hey, go down one way and come up the other, and then keep on little, you know, since it's a very long staircase, you know, have little ways so people can then turn around if they need to. That would have made things so much easier. But God, that was horrible. But it very beautiful. Place looked gorgeous at night, as you will. God, why am I saying that? Yeah, that's an example of they'll take something from real life and kind of show it in anime, but it was in a completely different location in the anime. But it, you know, you can definitely tell the visual, how the location influenced the look of the anime. As you will. What is it right now? An hour 40 minutes. So it's an hour after I started the previous one. I've been talking for like 20 minutes. Sorry about that. This is what happens when I go for like a week without doing a live stream. You know, I start talking too much. Okay, let's go with the next episode. Or how do I feel? It's 2:40 here. You know, I'm just gonna keep it to this one episode. Since the next 3 are going to be heartbreaking, maybe I'll catch up on those over the next few days. So I'll be back tomorrow on Monday. Let's go back. Okay. Cool. So thank you for the comments. Thank you for watching. This is me being silly. I apologize. I've been lazy. I apologize. That's why I'm saying, I think my advice is legit. I'm just not applying it like I should. So yeah, that's hypocrisy on me, I guess, or whatever the term is. And it's unfortunate, because if I just, you know, a little consistent effort when I really wanted to start doing this for real, I would have been much better. That's all. You know, I'd still probably, even if I were much better, I would still probably feel like I could be better. But I do know I would be better than what I am now if I had just been consistent. Because you do lose it. Like me starting off today, trying to start off with reading the news and then Steins Gate, it felt sluggish when I first started. Then it got smoother, but it, you know, I definitely had that sluggish feeling. But if you read more, you know, do more on a daily, then you know, again, you might still have that starting sluggish feeling, but that's going to be much smaller than the way I was feeling today. Yeah. Oh God. What a horrible, I'm sorry, Gokusen. That was like that was an extreme example, but most of the dramas are that way, I noticed. It didn't feel as bad with Zettai Kureshi, but you can kind of tell, like even, like Zettai Kureshi, first episode is like the comedic part, then it got to the part where they're trying to do the sweets, the group, the Kai, like Saikai 10, so trying to display the new sweets, the new product line, and so that was the dramatic part. Second one was her trying to collect all the money that's necessary, so that was the dramatic part. Third episode was they were on a tour or something, so yeah, it's like at the her trying to help her boss make a lot more of the food to share or to sell. I mean, again, had something funny, then it tried to be serious. So it didn't feel as bad, but this is like right now it's like I guess girls are being tricked, I guess kidnapped or made into work for a bar. And so the high school students all show up, they all get beat up. Teacher shows up and takes off her ponytails and then kicks everybody's ass, you know, and that it repeats that every fucking episode. It's just like, okay, this is not fun. It was always funny at the first half, but the second half it was the same formulaic junk. And so I really, for that second season, and I didn't even watch the third season entirely. I just watched only all the second season, and then third season I just gave up on it. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I started doing it where I just watched the first half and skipped the second half, and I just watched the entire second season that way. So, I liked how they said it for Goksen. Was so it had Goksen, GTO, and Rookies. Very similar, where again a very stronger, powerful teacher who could beat up all the students. So they had that ability, but the the students were all different. So like for Goksen, the students actually were really good guys. The teacher was crap. So for GTO, the teacher was actually the good guy. The students were all pieces of shit. You know, they eventually turned over, but they were all fucking horrible students. They weren't being misunderstood. These guys were bad students for the most part. There were a couple that were good eggs. Then there's but Rookies, actually the teacher was good. He was also a good teacher, other than the fact he punched out another teacher because he made him mad. There was that, but then the students were all good guys. You know, there was that. Although they wanted to fight each other a little, like punch each other a little too easily. That didn't seem believable to me. But yeah, it was for the most part it was kind of fun. So Rookies, GTO is a really good drama. I've got the sub, so I might do a Let's Read of GTO. I think it's worthwhile. And then when I get back to dramas. And yeah. And actually I got quite a few dramas I want to read through. But for GTO though, I can't do it as a transcript. I got to do it as subtitles. Like here. So there is that. And it's not too difficult. It probably could be a very good drama as your first Let's Reads. When you start getting into Let's Reads, it could be a good drama to start off at. I'm just going to do it for fun. And then, yeah, we'll leave it at that. Sorry, I was still talking too much. Alright, so that's me. Be back tomorrow. Thank you all very much. The Duke Marine. I'll be back with episode 12 tomorrow. And let's see how it goes. See if I start crying or not. Boso Tabi. Boso Zoku. Oh, Dragon Zakura. Okay, Zakura. Okay. That one sounds familiar, but I haven't seen it. Then there's Devil Teacher. I don't know, I couldn't stand watching that one. If it's not, like I said, like if a drama's not fun, I don't care if people say, if I'm watching it, I'm not having fun watching it, then okay, sorry. I mean, yeah, it was good to you, but it just wasn't to me, so carry on. You've got plenty of dramas to choose from. Alright. Later, guys. Thank you all. Oh, let me just say thanks for watching. Later, guys.